Test your strength!
Hey guys, Kenori here. I have a question for you this week. What would you do in a zombie apocalypse? Everyone should have a zombie apocalypse plan. At least one. I know people that have several. And what better way to train for a zombie apocalypse than Valve's brand new game, Left 4 Dead 2. Now for those of you that have been hiding under a rock for the last year, Valve released a game in 2008 called Left 4 Dead, and it's probably one of the greatest zombie apocalypse games of all time. And you would think, because Valve, they would just release a bunch of downloadable content over a couple of years, and then release a new game several years later, right? Well, you'd be fucking wrong. Valve started work on Left 4 Dead 2 almost immediately, and the fanboys were pissed. So, how does it live up to the hype? Is it a really good game, or is it just downloadable content? Well, that's what I'm here to tell you, because you obviously can't make up your mind for yourself. So, sit back, relax, and grab your shotgun, and let's dig into this game together. You play as one of 4 of the unluckiest bastards to ever survive a zombie apocalypse. They were left behind by a chopper in an extraction point in Georgia, and have to find some way to get all the way to New Orleans to get to another extraction point. Now, the premise behind Left 4 Dead was pretty simple. Get from point A to point B, and survive. And that hasn't really changed with Left 4 Dead 2. What has changed is just about everything else. Arguably, the biggest change in Left 4 Dead 2 are the characters.
It's an evac station. Up 30 flights of goddamn stairs.
Come on, Coach. Maybe the helicopter. Maybe it's made of chocolate.
That ain't funny, asshole. In Left 4 Dead 1, the characters were pretty good, and they had some good lines, but they were really more archetypes than characters that you would just put your own personality over. This time, they're actually fleshed out people with their own backstories and everything. Now, Game Informer magazine commented in a preview of the game that now the black guy is also the old guy, and the office professional is wearing a suit instead of a tie. That's really not how it is at all. Most of the characters feel really fleshed out, and all of the voice acting is really well done in this game. Really, the only character I'm not too fond of is Rochelle. She has kind of an annoying personality, but I mean, she's not that bad. Now, the story of this game is a lot like the first one. It's very bare bones, and you don't get a lot of information except what comes off the graffiti in the safe house rooms. However, unlike the first game, all of the campaigns in the series actually go in continuity with each other. The first campaign, Dead Center, is actually where the 4 meet up for the first time.
I don't think so. My friends call me Coach. I guess y'all can do the same.
Hey, name's Rochelle. You?
Alice. Pleasure to meet you, Rochelle.
And the end of one campaign starts into the beginning of the next one.
To build a monster truck, we ain't driving through this.
Sorry, guys. Guess it wasn't such a hot idea after all.
Don't sweat it, Ellis. At least you got us out of that mall.
Now, like I said, the gameplay itself really hasn't changed a whole lot, but what they've implemented into the gameplay is really where this game shines and comes differently from Left 4 Dead 1. For instance, the Hard Rain campaign has you going out to find gas tanks to refilling the postage. And while the same run-and-gun gameplay still applies, where you're running out and getting from safe room to safe room, you actually have to come back the way you came, and you end up being in the middle of a hurricane. Now, when you come through the first time, you want to save some of the items that you get, so that when you come back through, you'll have an easier time with the finale. Also, did I mention that you fight zombies in a hurricane? Yeah, that's pretty epic shit. And that brings me to the next change in the game. The melee weapons. Now, this is probably one of the most anticipated features in the new game, and it really does not disappoint. They're bloody, they're powerful, and they're oh so satisfying to use. They also provide a pretty good tactic to the shotgun, double handguns of the original game. In the original, the shotgun and the double handguns was pretty much the only way you could go if you wanted to get a good balanced gameplay system. It was a lot harder to use the assault rifle or the SMG because you didn't have a good close range weapon, and God forbid you tried to use the hunting rifle. Now with the melee weapons, you can use pretty much any gun that's long range and still have a good backup weapon to use. Plus, they never run out of ammo. Well, except the chainsaw, but that thing is so badass you want to use it. There are also some new guns in this game, and while they don't really have the same flair as the melee weapons, they're still pretty good. But there's not a whole lot of difference between the new weapons and the old weapons. Mainly it's just the look and feel of the weapons. They pretty much do the exact same thing, but they're still pretty cool and they add a nice little variance to the game. You're definitely going to need all these weapons. The zombies in this game are a bit smarter and a fair bit tougher than the original. And Valve have done a number with making them just fall apart beautifully. Now in the original game, when you shot them in the back, they would just kind of fall over and die. In this one, when you shoot them in the back, their back explodes, and you can actually see the skeleton underneath. And a pipe bomb explosion in this game is just a beauty to behold. Just take a look at this. Now take a look at the new gun. really is no contest here. Left 4 Dead 2 is the superior game when it comes to graphics. But what about out-and-out gameplay? Well, like I said, Left 4 Dead 2 is a lot like Left 4 Dead 1 as far as gameplay goes. If you didn't like Left 4 Dead 1, this one probably isn't going to win you over. Now, in addition to the campaign modes, there's also a versus mode, a survival mode, and a new mode called Scavenge, which is basically getting gas cans and pouring it into a generator and seeing who can get the most in a round. They're very simple premises, but they work so well in the zombie environment, it's almost scary. And the new infected types that you get to play as, the Charger, the Spitter, and the Jockey, really complement the old ones quite well. The Charger is a massive creature with a giant forearm that it uses to, well, basically charge you. The Spitter's a crazy bitch who shoots acid at you, and if you shoot her, she goes down into a puddle of acid. And the Jockey is a humpbacked fuck who jumps on you and drags you around the map until you get knocked over or you get shot off. Now, all three of these special infected are specifically designed to get their survivors separated, and they do their job quite well. They're not really overpowered, and they work really well with the original three. Now, that's not to say the game isn't without its flaws. The AI in particular is really bad. The bots in single-player mode have terrible AI. If you get attacked, especially by a special infected, you're probably going to go down, and I doubt you're going to get back up. It is really bad AI. It's better to play this game multiplayer than anything else. Also, it would have been nice if the weapons had been a little bit different, but like I said, it's not really a game breaker, it's still really fun. Now it's time to answer the big question. Is this game DLC, or is it an actual sequel? And honestly, this question is easy. It's a sequel, no doubt. There's so much more stuff in this game, so many more weapons, the characters are completely different. I cannot foresee this as ever being any kind of downloadable content. But honestly, I think the big question is it a good game? Of course it is, but only if you like the zombie genre. If you do not like zombies, you're not really going to have a whole lot of fun with this game, because that's what it's about. Killing zombies in the most creative ways possible. But if you're not really into zombies and more of the space pirates or aliens genre, then you're not really going to like this game. It's not going to do a whole lot for you. I think a good friend of mine said it best. He said that if you've ever sat and watched the remake of Dawn of the Dead and thought that would be an awesome thing to experience, then you're definitely going to like this game. And you have problems. This is Kenori, signing out.
We're not unreasonable. I mean, no one's gonna eat your eyes.
Coach, maybe the helicopter. Maybe it's made of chocolate.
Chocolate? Chocolate! Chocolate! Chocolate!